Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am here with Jack McCarthy and he's going to tell us all about Gobstein today. But first, before we begin, Jack, tell us real quick, who are you and how can people donate to St. Jude? Quickly, I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the chat, by the way.
Very good. The way you can donate to St. Jude is there is a link that Harmony is going to share. If you follow that link, it'll take you to the fundraising page. You will see a big blue button that says donate to one of these team members. And when you click that button, it'll show you a list of team members. The only team member right now is me, so you can donate to me if you would so choose. And it'll take you to a separate page where you can choose any of the preset amounts, or there's a little text box down there where you can enter a number amount and make the donation. $5, $10, whatever fits your budget. Everything helps. Everything is appreciated. The goblins and the children, thank you.
And where is this money going?
This is going to the
St. Jude, but
it's the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital specifically, and it will help go into the Cancer Research Fund. I don't know the full details of where it goes, but it is the link, as you can see, is fundraisingstjude.org. So it's officially theirs. That was one of the awesome things about doing this was they give you a very easy to use web interface that you go there yourself, open it up, create an account, set up a fundraiser. I can change this one. I can make all kinds of updates. I can invite other people onto the team and everything.
And this is for me. How much did you raise during Patty's stream?
$40.
$40. That's our goal, guys. $40 for St. Jude. Because I'm not going to be.
Now, I've got my email open. I'm looking at it right now. All if right. We get any donations, I am going to see them live.
Perfect. Oh, perfect.
So we'll be able to brag. Patty's here, so we can even rub his nose in it appropriately. But
absolutely, because
we got to talk about 2,000 viewers, though. I mean, that was out of the blue. Goblin magic. The goblins heard about that, and they're like, "We're going on the Rumble, and we're going to watch this stream."
How many? We're not going to beat Patty's viewer numbers today.
There we
go.
But
I'm happy with my 20 viewers. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I feel like if I had 2,000, I wouldn't be able to appreciate you guys just as much. So
now it's a very select and elite group. This is
how's it feel?
Private.
How's it feel to be famous now?
Oh, I'm trying to not to let it go to my head too much. I mean, I do try to think of the little people from time to time.
It was so nice of you to come on my channel.
Oh, yes. Well, 20 people, they say that an audience of 20 is as important as an audience of 2,000. They're wrong, of course, but they can think that.
Well, I appreciate you thinking of the small streamers like me after your experience being a celebrity with Patty. But anyway, let's get into it. So what is Gobstein and how is it different from Godstein?
Okay, so Gobstein focuses the action on gods. Gobstein focuses the action on goblins, which are very similar. I can understand the confusion, and it's one letter's difference. It really makes you think how deeply linked they are on a metaphysical level. But the idea was this all sprang about by myself and a couple of my ex-buddies, Mr. Big and Mortar McTrebejet, who we were just tossing memes and AI art schlop back and forth with one another involving goblins and all kinds of strange things. And Mr. Big at one point just chimed in with "This is cool. We should turn this into an actual game." And then Mort chimed in with, "Yeah, and we should do it as a fundraiser for St. Jude." And I said, "Okay, I like this idea. Let's make this happen." And this all happened around right before Christmas. And turns out that it is terrible to try and organize and plan things around the holiday season. I should know this, but I didn't. But still, we have been working hard on it to get us across to get this organized, set up, figure out exactly how we're going to do it and what we're going to do. And what we have landed on is the Gobstein that we're talking about tonight.
That sounds amazing, and I have more questions about that. But real quick, I'm gonna go shill St. Jude again. Thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. My ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. But please, guys, I beg of you, do not give me super chats today. Instead, if you want to support my channel, please donate instead to. I'm putting it back in chat if it will go. Please donate instead to Jack's fundraiser for St. Jude. We have to beat $40 so that I can hold something over Patty. This is very, very important to me. But thank you so much for the $3.
It's about pride and prejudice and goblins.
It is. It is, yes. But so anyway.
If I can do one worthwhile thing tonight, it would be to give Harmony something that she can lord over Patty for until, I help Patty break another record.
Of course. And just to kind of backpedal a little bit here, get back to the Gobstein. For those who don't know, who are in the audience, what is a Braunstein?
A Braunstein is a role-playing scenario in which each of the players as a participant takes the role of a faction leader, some sort of a leader of a small group of people, and a leader of and a prominent character with their own goals, motivations, and we turn them loose in the world to pursue their goals as they see fit. Now, that scenario can involve diplomacy, it can involve intrigue, it can involve assassination, politics, and actual war and conflict. The game is planned to go from this coming Saturday, February 22nd is the official launch, and will be 3 weeks of play-by-post on X, both publicly, where the public can see, and we're going to try and generate some hype and donations. There'll be a lot of sloppy AI art going around, lots of goblin shit posting, and you name it. We're going to make it happen. And behind the scenes, the players are going to be submitting orders to me involving what their faction does, what their plans are, what's really happening. And I'm going to be running the entire game behind the scenes. At the end of that 3 weeks, all of it is going to culminate in a live stream event hosted by me over on Rumble. And I cannot say any further what's going to happen that day, because what actually is going to happen that day depends on what my players do.
What is your Rumble channel? I didn't put it in the video description.
So I don't actually remember off the top of my head. It's Jack McCarthy, I think, with no spaces. And that's an admittance on my part. I really need to organize and clean up my overall social media footprint, because I got a little over on YouTube, I got something over on Twitch, and I got something over, on X. Primarily, though, the play-by-post action we intend to keep on X, where the entire idea had its genesis and formation. And I defaulted to Rumble as the video streaming platform because it was the easiest to get up and get running, frankly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I just have a YouTube channel. I don't really try for professionalism. I do it for fun.
Right.
Just when I want to, Right. So you are in charge of you're the referee then.
I am the referee.
Okay. How many players do you have?
We have 7 currently. Okay. And there is I have 8 seats at the table, because that's what Rumble will allow me to accommodate. So that means I have 1 seat left that I'm still waiting for an enterprising player to take. Somebody who won't mind 3 weeks of posting on X in character and then attending a stream playing this game. And
wow.
And I do have 1 or 2 factions in mind for what they could habitate. I could use an honest to goodness elf faction. And my world is strangely lacking in dwarves.
If only we knew someone who had an X presence who enjoyed playing in Braunsteins like this. I'll tell you if I think of anybody.
Okay. Thanks. And all we ask is a $30 buy-in. That's make a donation of $30, get you the seat at the table. All you enterprising people out there. Oh, and Patty's Parlor put the link to my Rumble channel in the in the chat for me. Thank you. And I just want to say to whatever person might be floating around in your mind, there's no pressure. There's no pressure. It's completely a volunteer organization. And you should not feel at all ashamed for missing out on the biggest social media event of the century.
I'll let my friend know.
Okay.
Anyway, we have a $2 super chat from Couple of Adventures. Thank you so much. Halfling merchants are the best part of Gobstein. Is this one of your players?
This is one of my players.
Is
And
he the
yeah,
best?
halfling merchant. Who would have guessed that you open the world up for people and say, yeah, we're using Shadow Dark as our base rule system and we're specifically using Hell March. And quick shout out to Alchemic Raker. I saw him in the chat. Thank you, sir. He's been key not only in providing us the rule set that we're using, but he's been giving me so much excellent advice behind the scenes of how to run this, how to structure it, and how to keep things moving. And he's been key in helping me shape how donations will shape the game as time goes on, which we'll talk about in a second. But yes, with all these options, like in Shadow Dark, who would have guessed that somebody would want to play a halfling merchant and have a great idea of how to do it, right? So I literally have a faction he's a halfling merchant, a head of merchanting of a variety of types. A lot of it has to do with coffee. So coffee is canon in the Gobstein.
So I've never used Shadow Dark for a Braunstein. The only one I've really played in, I think we used Traveler as the base. I did run one, but that was oh gosh, I really want to run another one. I'm itching for it. I need Godstein too, but we won't go there.
Well, I fell in love with that story when I first heard it from you, and all the videos, everything you post about it, because I love that, because I post on it from time to time. I'm actually a big fan of the old basic Immortal set that came out back in the 80s. So you doing a Godstein is so similar to, trying to play a God game. How do you even do that? How do you balance it?
Hey, Jack, check your email. Oh, because I'm showing $830 right now.
Oh my goodness!
What happened? Who donated? What we
Michael
get?
Dale, $50. Maxine Boyvin,
thank you so much.
Max Boyvin, $50. Oh my god! Oh my god! Rapper that court, $150. Oh, they are burying Patty. Patty, are you embarrassed? Because you should be really embarrassed. You should. This is. I mean, the viewer count kind of pales in comparison to this. I actually feel kind of bad for you, Patty. So I mean, I love you. I'm going to back you up. Go ahead.
It's because my viewers, the people in my chat, are super high quality. Like, I have the best viewers. You don't understand. These people are like the greatest people on the internet.
They are. They are. Oh, Fright Show Classics. Love seeing you, man. Love seeing you. Reactionary Principle. These are some top shelf, grade A people. Michael Dale.
All right. Well, I guess we can end the stream. No, I'm just kidding.
Now that the bragging rights are secured.
Right, bye, it's
well, quit while you're ahead. Leave them wanting more. I mean, we've got a really great crowd stirred up here. That smoke tickles.
You guys are great. I'm glad I have secured my position here and reclaimed at least one metric, because you guys, you don't understand. Earlier today, people were sending me like screenshots of like 2.5K viewers on Patty. I'm like, what? He's not gonna want to come on my channel.
I'm never too big. Never too big.
Congratulations on that, by the way. That's awesome.
Thank you.
This is great.
It's basically 100% my fault that happened. So Patty will be cutting me a big check later on. Saw that.
Driving and Dragons is right on with this. Nothing generates more enthusiasm than smashing your buddy's accomplishment. I am a competitive person, and I needed to win something. Okay. Just let me have this, guys. Perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So how what advice would you give to someone who is wanting to run their first Braunstein, has never run one before? How do you get it together? How do you get people interested? And how do you do it?
Well, I would say that the first thing you have to do is download. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. I know there's people waiting for it. Browser. You need to read Browser because it tells you everything that you need to know in order to do it. I've read Browser once. That's it. Right. And what it serves as is a guide to how to create those factions, how the game is supposed to be structured, some of the philosophy driving behind it. Even more valuable than that as one single source, though, it has been talking to and listening to the people on X who have started running these things. So you, all the Bro SR, everybody who's run one, everyone who's given it a try, and listen to that advice, because I really do believe this methodology of gaming has what it takes to reinvigorate the hobby. They really have rediscovered something special.
Yeah, I read Browser, and the essays in the beginning were really, really good. They do tell you everything you need to know. I wish that I had access to that before I ran mine.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now here's the
unfortunately,
thing. When I heard yours, you kind of had this notion. You came away with it feeling like, yeah, that didn't go real well. It really messed up. But the players were pretty enthused. Was that
I
your
think
experience?
no. I think if it came off that way, I think I was trying to tell people like the things I did wrong so that people didn't make the same mistakes I did. I think overall it went pretty well. I
Excellent.
had some
Okay.
problems early on. Like there were some people who didn't really know what to do,
Yeah.
or where they were supposed to go with it, and had some problems like getting stuff together for their factions, and for their gods. But the longer it went on, the more people kind of got the hang of it and knew what they were doing. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of
So
felt that way. It's a very similar experience when you switch from like D&D or classic fantasy to another genre like sci-fi or horror gaming. And sometimes the players can kind of flounder a little bit because they're not sure what they're supposed to do in this world, you know. And once they get a handle on it of, oh, that's the way things work in this one. You know, if you're playing Call of Cthulhu, you quickly learn that, okay, we're not on this dungeon or hex exploring loop or dungeon crawling loop. We're on an investigation loop where we get a clue and then we go to a place and we look around and we try and find clues, and then we come up with the conclusion that's inevitably wrong and get killed by a monster at the end. I love
that
Call of
was every
Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu game I've ever played. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And listen to Seth Skorkowski. You just burn down the house. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to just cut to the chase, that would be the funniest Call of Cthulhu campaign of all time. Is just, okay, we hear about a problem with this mansion. Burn it down. Just burn it down right at the beginning and be done with it.
The first Braunstein I ever played in was one with the bros, and I was learning Traveler, and I kind of missed the part in the rule book about like how reflective under armor works. And I was my character died because I was like trying to get away from hired thugs who were coming after me, and Macho Mandoff like gets out of his car, comes over like he's gonna help me start my getaway vehicle, and then shoots me because I'm not wearing reflective underwear. And there were like 3 of us there, but he was like, "Oh, I bet she didn't read the rules," and so he shot me. I learned a very valuable lesson that day.
It's cutthroat. It's cutthroat.
Totally
So,
is.
so technically, I've never run a Braunstein before either. The closest thing I've done is I used to run a vampire LARP years ago, hosted and ran one in my apartment. And there are so many of the principles I've heard the bros talk about through discussing Braunsteins, where the same ideas apply, like one-to-one time, player agency. get out of the way, really embrace the role of referee rather than injecting your story and crap into what the players want to do. What they want to do is going to end up with a much more interesting dynamic than anything that you could come up with yourself. Greetings, Paladin.
I think that's about right, actually. It's there's a lot of temptation to bring a story into it, but like the thing is, you have to have a setting. I think that's one thing Griffith Morgan expressed was a very important part of running a Braunstein is having a setting. So for me, I didn't really have a setting because the players were creating the setting, but you have to have like some sort of like political turmoil, some sort of upheaval that's going on so that everybody going through it has motivation. Yeah, for sure. Built-in conflict. So my question, how are you doing that in Gobstein? What is the setup? And I know there's a lot of secret information in here and some goblins are getting information that other goblins are not getting. But what is the general setup for Gobstein? What is the conflict going in?
So the original premise that this sprung out of is that in this classic boilerplate kind of D&D world, Shadow Dark world, as it turns out, where there's humans, dwarves, elves, it's mostly a human kingdom. There's goblins and stuff like that. This large group of goblins have come together and declared themselves to be a nation. They've declared themselves as the Goblin Union, and they sent messengers out, and they're declaring their independence from humans and oppression, and they're trying to form their own thing. And the humans are then going to be reacting to what the goblins have done, and the first thing they've done is form this thing they call the Human Confederation, where they're trying to gather together and go, what are we going to do about this? Is this a threat to us? And there are given the factions that we have so far, there are a couple of wild cards floating around out there where it seems like they might obviously align themselves with one side or the other, but it's not as clear cut as all that.
And so what factions do you have? You have the goblins, the humans, you're talking about the elves. What are your other factions?
I have taken the approach of custom designing a faction for each player once they buy into a seat on the table. So I started with the first two, which are Mortimer McTrebuchet and Mr. Big, and Mort's being the goblin leader, and Mr. Big is being the human leader, who's actually just an old mercenary who's come out of retirement because all of this is happening closest to his home. And each player that's come on board, I've gone with them behind the scenes, said, okay, got an idea of what kind of character did you have in mind? Did you have an idea of which side you want to go to? And everybody has had a really great take on the faction. I would float an idea sometimes, and they, one of them said, I'm kind of leaning towards the goblins. And I was like, well, have you considered maybe doing this? And people have taken the ideas, they've run with them, things have changed and morphed. And there's even, I have taken to introducing resources from other independent creators that I want to support. Namely, as I announced earlier today, the Shucked Oyster is canon in Gobstein.
I like that one. The Shucked Oyster is one of my favorite. It's my favorite Shadow Dark module I've read. It's also the only Shadow Dark module I've read, but it's also my favorite. So,
well, it still counts. It still counts. It's a true statement to make. And and to delve into that for just a second, to give those boys a shout out, I agree. It's exactly the kind of resource that I need at my table. I'm not so much into modules or a specific location where you got to go through and room by room and search for it. I love that they presented a place with a cast of characters that can all be used in a way that repeats itself. It's organic, it grows, it changes. It can be used multiple times, even within the same campaign. and it just never really repeats itself. It's a random chaos generator.
I like that. And I think it's a good structure for a module too. I enjoy modules that are like structures in your campaign setting that your players can see multiple times and it changes over time and they can engage with it as much or little as they want. I really like things like that. And I've thought about using the Shucked Oyster in mine, but I don't know. I'm not there yet.
The premise of what it is, I even remember you talking about how maybe not. Can we turn this into like a theater troupe or something? Yeah, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a little weird because like a lot of my players are male, and many of them are married, and I don't want to, it gets a little bit weird. But anyway, somebody in chat has a very important question for you. Why is Harmony talking to an Orthodox monk? Well,
Gabi Oreo Nabisco.
I'm glad you asked. It's because he is raising money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So if you would like to donate, there is the link. Anyway, please do not send me super chats today, guys. I've said this already, but for those just tuning in, please do not send me super chats. Instead, I encourage you to donate to St. Jude with the donation link that is in chat and in the video description. Thank you very much.
And if I may jump on there, Harmony, for you generous souls who have donated, take a screenshot, tag me on Twitter with my JP M McCarthy JR handle, and tell me what you want to do. One of the things that we're doing to this, one of the features of the Gobstein, is that every donation, you can tell me what you want to have happen in the game. Do you want to add more goblins to the goblin army? Do you want to give archers to the humans? Do you want to grant additional heaps of gold to the halfling merchant we discussed? Do you want a giant asteroid to collide with the continent halfway through the game? These are all possibilities that can be driven by your donation dollar. Tag me on Twitter with your donation. Tell me what you want to have happen, and I will make it happen. I want this game to go as crazy off the rails as possible.
One of y'all that donated $50, please tell him to give the goblins a like giant wooden goblin robot called like Gobbot or something.
Gobbot,
because I like that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's epic genius. Mort,
David,
you're watching.
Do that.
AI. Somebody tell Mort to do that. He's got AI art skills. He's going to make us a giant wooden Gobbot.
Yep, David Bowie Goblin King. So somebody donate and tell him David Bowie Goblin King. And if you don't, I will be forced to donate and tell him David Bowie Goblin King. Don't make me do it. I'll probably do it anyway, but somebody else says
exactly, Victor,
give more resources to the halflings. Wow. Couple of adventures. It sounds like you need to donate for more resources to the halflings.
Maybe donating to the halflings is the only thing that will prevent horrid war.
Oh, large wooden badger. There are lots of good ideas going on in chat here. I like it. So how do the players feel about a kind of pay to win system? Like normally I'm so against pay to win. I would never do that in one of my games. I used to DM for money and I would never do pay to win in my games. But if it's for charity, that's different. Like everything's different. If it's for like St. Jude.
Yeah. Almost any sin is forgivable.
Yep, exactly.
I could punch a midget on stream and
if it's
say
for
it's
charity.
For charity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kicking puppies for charity.
Good thing I'm famously a giant.
Yes.
Michael Dale says, I'll only accept David Bowie Goblin King if there's a baby dance montage. What do you mean?
I will sing that song for you in karaoke.
Dude, I went to a Bowie-oke once that was like everybody, you could only sing David Bowie songs and everyone was like dressed up as David Bowie. It was an experience, man.
Actually, that sounds like a almost church to me. That's almost church.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm a huge David Bowie fan.
Oh, me too. He's my favorite. Okay. I would say of all singers, living or dead, that I have heard, I think David Bowie has the #1 best voice. best male singer voice. I would
He does.
definitely call it David Bowie.
I didn't think it was possible for me to love you more than I did, but now I do. You made that possible. Confessing love for David Bowie. I love Bowie, one of the best musicians of all time, and there's literally not a song I dislike of his that I'm aware of. Even his really weird off the wall stuff that he's done over the years.
Yeah, I
Velma!
think
my wife Velma is in the chat.
Oh, well, hello, Jack's wife Velma. Look. I'm not the one who said it. Your wife did. He will sing for you. So
I will.
You got any David Bowie?
Oh gosh. Oh, not a good one. Not a good one. Not a good one. Not a good one. I don't have my. I'm gonna tease you. No, this is not a karaoke stream. We're gonna do karaoke Goblin another night.
Okay, next charity stream is Goblin Karaoke. Got it.
Perfect. I was let you know how Black Lodge Games did a rave stream when they launched a Kickstarter.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, that was great. Ginger Fraser has been a DJ as one of his hobbies for many years, so he's got a bunch of DJing equipment. So they set up a whole green screen background turntables, and so when they launched the Kickstarters for both the Shucked Oyster and the Cults of Zahak, they did a little mini rave fest launch party, live stream launch party. It was most excellent.
We got a request for Life on Mars, and he donated $50. We got to give it to him. Gotta, you know.
Ground control, Major Tom.
Oof, we both start at the same time. That's the wrong song. You got to go like, goblins fighting on the dance floor. Oh man, look at those gobos go. That's all I know. Oh, I could have sung that.
That is quite good, though. That is an excellent lead-in.
It's the first time I've sang on stream.
Well,
did it for charity.
It was the first time Patty got 2,000 viewers on a stream. So, and this is the first time you sang on a stream. I am literally full of historic firsts today.
The lengths I will go to upstage Patty, because I'm not upstage him in numbers, but man, as long as we get the donations, we're good.
We've got the donations stacked down. I mean, I'm pretty sure I still feel physical pain over that on his behalf. Elvis Gobstein.
Oh man, we've gotten way off topic. That's fine though. I appreciate banter stream. Right. So if we could like bring this maybe a little back to Mrs. Oh no. What is this?
Knitted project. Next $50 gets a knit hat or a pair of gloves by Mrs. Parlor.
Oh, man, you know what the greatest thing is? When people who aren't me volunteer giveaways for my stream, I love it. I don't have to do anything. It's my favorite thing. Karaoke stream, says Joel. I don't know. I used to sing karaoke. I did a lot. It was a hobby I had for a long time. I would go out and sing quite a lot. I was okay. But like the thing is with karaoke, you don't have to be good if you're entertaining. And so I would try to sing like really entertaining stuff. So yeah. I would sing like the Violent Femmes.
I got into it over the COVID lockdowns, just being locked down and stumbled across somebody who was doing it live stream on YouTube and hopped on a couple and did that myself for a while. So that's what got me hooked on it. And I found I just really love singing. So it's a ton of fun.
Patty says apparently his wife likes me more than him. Well, don't know what to say that. Sucks.
That's probably he's jealous over the knitted goods. So he's like, why didn't I get knitted goods to give away on my stream?
Right? No, that's exciting. For real. So man, I really want to talk about Braunstein more. I could talk about it all day just because I had such a strange experience with mine, and I want to hear other people's. So, how what you said you are fashioning, like you were making factions for the different players, right? So
Correct.
you but you have 7 of them, and I've heard about like 3 or 4. What are the
Well,
others?
there's 2 or 3 specific goblin factions, and each one brings a particular asset to the table amongst the goblins, and they all each have their own particular wants and desires and stuff like that. So, like one goblin brings a technological advantage, a significant one to the table, but I'm not going to reveal that one yet. And another one is the leader of the hobgoblins, which we all know that hobgoblins are goblins, but bigger, stronger, better organized, more intimidating soldiers. That's the asset they bring at the table. And then another goblin faction we have are the wolf riders and breeders. So they're the ones who bring giant wolves with saddles to the table.
Okay. I like the warg goblins or the wolf goblins.
Yeah, that's
So,
that.
what is the political situation going into this? If I've asked you, I don't think I've asked you this. What is the
We
situation
touched
going
on
into
it, and
this? Kind
I
of. Okay.
tangented.
Okay.
The
All
political
right.
situation is such that it's more or less a normal, peaceful D&D world, and all of a sudden a goblin nation springs up over here, right, in this one section of the map. And then the nearest humans are like, what the heck is this? What's going on? We've never had a goblin nation before. Is this a danger to us? We should send messengers out. We should look for help. We should start patrolling the area. So essentially, it is this new goblin kingdom, nation, goblin union that has sprung up and is beginning to assert itself in the region, and how the other mostly human factions are going to react to this.
And do you have like specific win conditions for each faction, or is it just at the end? Did you survive, or did your was your faction wiped out? Like, how do you determine winners and losers in this Braunstein?
I think that just like in history, the winners and losers will be obvious by the end. And ultimately, who can really say? And again, I'm leaving as much open to the player action as possible. I am a big fan of player agency. This entire situation may be resolved peaceably. Probably not. It may be resolved peaceably. I leave it all in the hands of the players. It could be diplomacy, it could be intrigue, it could be spying. Who knows what else is going on behind the scenes? Because in addition to the stuff I'm dropping here on the surface, there are things happening behind the scenes that are quite interesting. Oh.
Somebody asked me that once, like, how do you determine winners and losers in your Gobstein campaign? And I almost had the exact same response as you did, which was like, we'll know. I don't know the criteria yet, but we'll know. Like it'll be obvious. It's just like a piece of history written out. Like you know who the winners and losers are by looking at it.
Yeah. And the truth is, I think if we were to try and assign a metric to it, that metric is it's whenever the best story that came out is. That's really what it's going to amount to. There's so much that can happen with so much interplay between different players and the different levels that they can interact, that if you were to set down a hard criteria beforehand to say, okay, well, for every farm you cultivate, you'll get a point, and that's the only thing I offer. So all they're going to do is spend their time cultivating farms to get those points. By not having a hard metric like that, it encourages the players to do whatever they think to do to pursue winning in their mind.
I have always had a a problem with victory points and like very open games like that. Like one of my favorite board games that I like to play with people is Twilight Imperium. And while it is a war game and it has a lot in common with Braunstein, but it is mostly like a war game, there are victory points that you don't know what the victory points are going to be for each game. It's different, but they like kind of come out and it's like, are you blockading someone's space dock? Have you have you captured a planet this round? Do you have X amount of planets? Is your technology to this level? Certain things. So they reward different things and you don't know what's going to be rewarded. So you can't, but you have to like mold your strategy based on it. But I still hate them. I still hate victory points in these scenarios because a lot of times it's like, I want to just award winners and losers based on the state of the board because there's nothing dumber than like finishing up like a big war game like Twilight Imperium and having one guy sweep half the map. It's obvious. You look down, like most of the pieces are orange. The orange players got this. But then you look at the scoreboard and this dude who's been turtling with 3 planets the whole time somehow has 10 points. Like there's nothing worse than that. Like I hate it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and that's exactly what I was talking about is if we set up any kind of arbitrary conditions beforehand, those are the behaviors you're going to encourage in your game. By not giving them hard criteria and leaving it to their imaginations, you see the best, most creative thinking from your players.
When I was playing my Braunstein, or the Braunstein I was in, Moonstein was what it was called. I lost, and it was very obvious I lost because I was dead. But it was still a really fun story, and I enjoyed it. And like my favorite part of it wasn't like that I lost, or wasn't it. My favorite part of it was twofold. There was like this part where things were desperate. There were people that were coming out shooting at us, and like Dundermoose just killed our driver. And I'm like, what are you doing? None of us know how to drive this thing. You've doomed us all. What is wrong with you? And then like what Macho Mandoff was like coming towards us. He's like, I'm here to help, guys. And I'm like, okay. And of course he just shoots me, right? Instead. But okay, that was like the best part. Except like while we were doing this, there was another guy. I forget who it was. I think it was like Gabe, someone. I don't know him that well, but he was just brilliant. He had this whole like big scheme going on where he was going to like run a ship down into someone's space dock. It was ridiculous how much stuff was going on. Like I feel sorry for our referee there, but like it was a good story, and it was. I'm not even sure. I wrestled with this. I don't know if you could call it a game. It was a LARP, but I don't know how gamey it was, you know? And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to say, you know, it wasn't really a game as much as it was a LARP. But I wrestled with that question as to whether or not these are games, you know? Go ahead.
I think that they are. They still qualify as a game in all of the ways that are important to me. There are rules, there's points, there's crunchy bits that you need to negotiate that can influence the strategies you choose in how to win or pursue your goals in the game. And to me, the LARP part just becomes a shorthand for that distinguishes that we're not sitting at a table engaging mostly in theater or the mind. We're standing up, often in costume, moving around, and it's a much more immersive experience before that. I don't know if in-person Braunsteins are quite that way. It sounds much more like the way it's been described. The original one was, you know, David Wesley, the ref, just sat in the other room and all the players cycled through to him one-on-one. Whereas my experience LARP, running a vampire LARP back in the day was much more, I'm in the mix. I'm going from player to player. I'm not sequestered back in a room, although that did happen a lot when players wanted to cover something secret or in private. I would go off into a separate room with them and discuss whatever they needed. But it was much more of a, you know, you have any number of people ranging from, you know, 10, 15 to 70. 70 is the largest game that I hosted in my little dinky 2-bedroom apartment.
You hosted 70 people in a 2-bedroom apartment playing a LARP.
Yep, and we were the second floor. We had access to the attic and the basement, the back deck, the front balcony, the backyard, the driveway. All of them were full. All of them were full. We had 70 people in a little two-bedroom. Hosted had a little two-bedroom apartment duplex, and the downstairs neighbors were playing in our LARP.
I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know if I have enough space to host a Braunstein here. I would love to host an in-person Braunstein, but like the only space I have access to is my house. And I have an okay house. Like it's decent size. But like, I don't know about having 20, 30 people here. And you're like, I've had 70 people in a 2-bedroom apartment playing a LARP. That's
Yes.
crazy.
I
How did the
don't
neighbors
know how
feel
we
about
fit.
that?
What's that?
How did the neighbors feel? Did you have the police called?
Surprisingly,
if there were
no.
like
So we
vampires?
lived in what
Okay.
real estate people call a shitty neighborhood at the time, in the middle of Cleveland, and so the neighbors were happy that there wasn't like gunshots on the weekend, and we happened to be in a spot situated at the time where we were across the street from business with a big empty parking lot, so parking wasn't a big issue. We weren't actually very loud and obnoxious, unlike most LARPers. Most LARPers are the most obnoxious people on the planet, but we really tried to keep ours polite and not disturbing the neighbors. So you guys aren't allowed to be outside screaming, "I need blood" at the top of your lungs, I mean, which surprisingly goes really unnoticed in the city of Cleveland, kind of alarmingly so, but it happens.
We have a few questions from the chat I want to get to. One of them I want to know the story behind. Joel says, Jack, if I can scrounge up enough to donate, can Serpico from our campaign show up with his flying goblin troops to cause trouble? Tell me that story.
Serpico is from the AD&D campaign I'm currently playing with Joel, who I have not had the opportunity to interact with directly as of yet. But we have seen the fruits of his labor because we shot bomb-carrying, gliding gnolls out of the sky with our archers. Because I was with Joel while we tested Hell March for the first time.
Oh my gosh. I get so much shit online for how gonzo my campaign is because my players like create stuff for it and insert in what they want. And so we occasionally have like ridiculous stuff being inserted. Like around Christmas, the dwarf player created Mecha Santa, and he basically they vote in a player each month that adds something big to the campaign world. And in December it was Mecha Santa, and they all voted for it. It was like I couldn't even say, we had like 14 players. I couldn't do anything against it. It was like 13-1 or something. It was just everybody wanted Mecha Santa. But yeah. And so I'm like, man, I need to stop sharing about this online because people are gonna be like, what kind of campaign is she running? Like this last month, we had somebody who was like wanting to introduce, oh man, I haven't shared this one yet. They wanted to introduce cows with nitroglycerin blood that would explode. And it was the god of entertainment that wanted to do this because he thought it would be very cool. But fortunately, he didn't win. But anyway, so you're telling me that you have like aerial brigading, what was it, gnolls?
Yes.
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
they were
my
like gnolls on hang gliders dropping bombs on our troops. Would be, except we shot them down because we were very smart and skillful.
I'm no longer worried about my campaign sounding too gonzo. It's
Joel
fine.
Guaranteed Serpico and flying goblins all the way.
Whew. And okay, we have Big Vic in the chat. He says the thing with most Braunsteins is the space, but if you have the area, the GM should place certain people in static positions, like the barkeeper, the chancellor, and a few others. That's actually a really good way to do it, is section off certain parts. Like this is the bar, the church is in this room. Yeah, I like that. That's a good tip actually for hosting real life Braunsteins.
Right. And again, that's a convention that we used in LARPs. Is a lot of times we would even usually designate a specific room as the out of character area, because when you're playing constantly, it can get a little overwhelming. You can get exhausted. Sometimes you just need to stop being the ice queen that you've been playing all night and go relax and, scratch your butt or whatever in another room. Go have a little OOC time. But then there's also various things of, all right, the first floor, you guys are actually on the west side of town, and the upstairs in the attic, you guys are on the east side of town, because you're from two different factions of the vampire world that are kill on sight to one another. So
That's how you have to do it.
yes, yeah.
It
Well, and
seems.
all of that political intrigue, factions, and stuff like that is built into Vampire. That's what makes it such a great game for
Yeah.
LARPing in particular.
Big Vic says David Wesley and he did it for Dave Kahn to keep it a little bit more organized. I think that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I truly wish I had the ability, enough friends to run a Braunstein in real life. And I think doing it online, it's fun. We've taken a lot of inspiration from you guys. Truly, you guys have inspired a lot of what we've done. But it's not the same in a bunch of different chat rooms and Discord voice chats and stuff as it is face to face. Just because, I mean, in a okay, look, in a Discord voice chat, if you take someone aside, like everybody knows, everyone sees you guys leave the chat. But like if I've played enough of these diplomacy games to know that, the best part of diplomacy games, in my opinion, is the 5-minute break between rounds or the 10-minute break between rounds where everybody's like taking everyone else aside and being like, hey, all right, did you see what he did there? So if you move here, we can flank him and just take him out of the board and he won't see it coming. But like no one knows you even talked. And it's hard to replicate that experience online because
it really
body
is.
language is a huge factor. And you can use webcam, but like that's still not the same. Like you can only see me from the waist up. You can't see me fiddling with my hands nervously. You don't know.
Yeah,
you can't take. Yeah.
So much. Yeah. And that's another, they overlap with the theater kids and stuff. There is something very special and immersive that arises from physically acting out your character's part. You walking around, making gestures, trying to conceal your body language when somebody confronts you about your secret plan to assassinate them. All this, I've had all this stuff happen,
I'm so much better as a player in these things, I think, online, just because I'm actually a really bad liar. Everyone can tell when I lie in person. So I have this thing when I play these games in person, I don't lie. Like I tell people, so sometimes I'm a little bit weaselly with my words. Like sometimes I'll say, yeah, I could negotiate, no problem. When like I don't intend to. I'm just saying I could. That's in a different game, but so sometimes I'm a bit weaselly with my words. But my strategy is I always tell the truth to the word, and I will never betray anyone unless it will win me the game. If that is the winning move, and I will win the game right there, I will do it. But like if I won't win, or if I'm like building towards a win like much later, then I will never betray you until I can get the win for it. That's my strategy always, every time.
You just described political strategy in a nutshell.
That's how I've always played that sort of game. But that's really hard to do online. And I really would love
it's really hard to do no matter what. It's hard to do online, it's hard to do in person. And that's one of the amazing things is it's the sort of thing you can't really practice amongst other social circles. So it's neat to be engaged in a game activity where that's our active goal. We're learning how to trick people. We're learning how to play two people we know against one another so I can get away with my own bad behavior over here. And I mean, it's really interesting. I think it takes it actually enhances the way you see the world, and it even gives us a chance to learn more social skills than we normally would.
And oops, that is the wrong one. Vic says betrayal is almost mandatory in a Braunstein.
It's
I
not
think
Braunstein until somebody's got a dagger in their back.
It's true. It's true. Definitely. And in my experience, and I talk like I've played a lot of Braunsteins, but that's not quite true. I've played a lot of diplomacy and diplomacy type games, which is adjacent, but not exactly a Braunstein.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's totally true. But I always play with the idea that I am going to be playing with this group again. And if I'm not going to win from betraying someone, it's not worth it because then they won't trust me next time.
I love it. That's
brilliant.
That's brilliant. Look, I'm not going to play unless I can win.
Right.
I'm not going to win unless I can get you guys to trust me. Can you see how this calculus works?
I never lie in that sort of game. And there was this whole thing for a while where people were like, whenever we had any new player join our group, everyone would be like, okay, the first rule is don't trust Harmony. Like, just don't trust anything she says. She will sweet talk you. She will act like she can help you and everything's going to be mutually beneficial. And then she's going to take everything. Do not trust her, which was total bullshit. It never ever happened. But
Gutter for Mike brings it up every time. He brings it up without fail every time. He's still heard about that.
Players cannot take a game personally because it's a game.
Oh, well, that's where you're wrong.
People remember. They remember.
No, I have seen way too many friendships wrecked by this activity to say that's true. That, yes, people should be bigger. That's the way it should be, Vic, but it is not. It is manifestly not.
And Critical Dom has the strategy down. Will someone rid me of this meddlesome priest? That is exactly the best strategy, I think, in most of these diplomacy games, is try and get someone else to do your dirty work for you. Keep your hands clean. That's always been mine.
Yes. The Beckett reference.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. Here, I'm going to go ahead and post the St. Jude's link one more time. Guys, please donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital around here. I don't know. I didn't see any last time I looked, but I have it up here because I need to feel superior to Patty in like one metric. That's what's very important to me. You know.
Yep, they all came within minutes. 54 minutes.
I know, right? It's okay. Not trusting Harmony just sounds like general advice, though. She'll just corner you and force you to play Cosmic Encounter. That was an old joke at my college. They were like, we had this like game once that had I think it was a Jackbox game. It was like Quiplash or something where people would like type in answers to things, and there was a prompt that was like, what would be the weirdest thing that came out of your toilet? And the winning answer was like Harmony with a box of Cosmic Encounter.
Didn't someone even turn that into a meme a little while ago? It's got that weird look with holding the gun and the big weird eyes. That cracks me up every time I see it.
It was kind of the joke because I would like I sound so nerdy when I say this, but I would when I was in college, I would bring my Cosmic Encounter game with me to class because I had a 6-hour block in between classes. I had to drive all the way up to college to be at an 8 a.m. class, and then I'd have a 6-hour block where I had nothing to do, and like I wasn't going to study for that. Let's be real. And then I had another class. And so I would bring Cosmic Encounter with me, set it up in like a student lounge, and just look for people who seemed interested and just be like, hey, you want to play Cosmic Encounter? And like, you would think it would be hard to get a game going that way, but I must have taught hundreds of people how to play. And I had people coming back there every single day. Like, oh, it's Tuesday. Harmony's going to be in this lounge setting up Cosmic Encounter.
Let's squeeze in a round or two.
Yeah, it was great. Like, I mean, my Cosmic game's been like played to death now because of it, because that was like the game, right? I don't know, and it had a lot in common with Braunstein too, just because it was a diplomacy centered game. It was like a prisoner's dilemma bluffing game. Oh God, I am not going to get started on Cosmic Encounter. I can't. You all will leave. I will go so hard on this. Sounds
Well,
like him in
we
college
should
with
organize a
D&D
benefit
4E.
stream for a cosmic encounter for St. Jude's.
Right. Man, dude, you don't understand. If I could get people together from like Twitter or whatever to play Cosmic Encounter with me on stream, that would be like the highlight of my month. That would be wonderful. But yeah,
All right,
and this was at the time
Goblins, make it happen.
this was at the time I didn't actually run any RPGs at the time. I was a player. I played in a D&D game, but I don't know. I didn't run it at the time. I was a player for like a decade in different games before I actually ran them. I ended up running them because I didn't like my DM and was like, I want to try to do it myself. And I ended up it clicked immediately for me. I was like, oh, this is great. And I just
So you
became
became
permanent
a DM because you didn't like
Yeah.
your current DM, and it really
Yes.
stuck.
Yes. Yes.
Are you a forever DM?
Yes. Kind of. So I have like my Gobstein game, which started as like a Braunstein and then kind of to make the world of the D&D campaign. And then I have like now it meets 4 times a week, which is like a lot, but like I don't run all those. I don't even show up to all of them. I have like a lot of people running it in the same world now. So I'm not the only DM, but like, yeah, I am a DM. Cosmic Encounter is available on Tabletop Simulator. Yes, I am on I'm on like Discord servers of people who play it there, and I've played it there before. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Patty, for the link. Yes, that is the St. Jude's link if you wish to donate to St. Jude. If you donate to St. Jude through the stream, he will add goblins to the game in your honor, and you can pick anything you want to add to this Gobstein. And
When
they're going to have
when you donate, get a screenshot of it. Tag me on Twitter through my hashtag or through hashtag Gobstein through my tag, whatever you call that thing, the handle. And tell me what you want to add to the game. Tell me if you want to add more goblins to the goblin forces. Tell me if you want to bolster a specific player. Like, say, hypothetically, Harmony Ginger joined and you said, I want to bolster her faction. You can do that. If you wanted to have a giant meteor strike the island in the middle of the game, you can do that too. The larger your donation, the more it will affect the outcome of play. And it's a charity game, so the play to win is a feature, not a bug.
I love that. I've never played in a pay to win game. I would consider joining Gobstein. I know we kind of talked about that earlier. I might do it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Depends on when. Because last Braunstein I was in that was like online and text based happened on the 4th of July. And I was like trying to watch fireworks with my family. And my phone's going off over and over. And my dad's like, what is going on? And I'm like, I'm getting shot at, okay?
Yes, they're taking advantage of the time zone difference. Aha, it's dark where she is. We better attack now.
But I mean, really, you know, I know Vic was in here earlier. I don't know if he's still in here, but he was talking about his Braunsteins, and man, I really wish I could play in one of those at Dave Con with the OG guys. That would be amazing. But
that would be.
Unfortunately, online is what we have to work with, and it's not perfect. And I'm not sold that it is the best way to play. I know it's not the best way to play, but man, it's something, and it's fun.
Right.
But yeah, I believe this is. I think I know who. Come on up to Minnesota, man. I'm in Florida, and I did live lived in Minnesota for just a little bit, and I was there in like the winter of like I want to say 2017, and it was the worst winter in like 20 years. And I'm a Southerner, and I couldn't handle it. It was so cold. I hated it.
Right.
I've never felt like minus 20 before.
Yeah, and the winter can be absolutely soul crushing. It just can.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I always do these I can't do these always on games. I'm too busy and often in places I can't access networks. No, that's completely fair. And I run a 1-to-1 kind of always on game, but I mean, I don't like people don't always communicate through it. A lot of times we handle like the downtime and stuff at the very beginning or the very end of a game session, and we don't worry about it throughout the week. 40 degrees is t-shirt weather.
Yep.
Oh,
that's what it is here.
You know, when it is like 60 degrees here, I see people like walking around in big coats here. Like when it goes down to 60, it's because Floridians, we don't understand how to handle this stuff.
No, there's Mort.
Sent a couple robots over Twitter. What does that mean?
He made you giant wooden robots as you requested. AI art. And shared them over Twitter. I haven't gone to look at them yet. As far as I know, I'm still in Twitter jail, so I'll check when I'm.
Oh no! See, you never looked like you were in Twitter jail to me. I checked it, but I didn't.
From my side, I can't make new posts or comment or like anybody's stuff. But I can direct message for some reason. So
whatever Jack did to deserve Twitter jail, don't do that. Whatever it was. Learn from his mistake. We're not going to tell you what his mistake was.
Yes. You know, and that's the way things work nowadays. Is there are many rules, and you will be severely punished for breaking any of them, but you can't know what they are beforehand.
Big Vic says flights are cheap. I take that as my invitation to Dave Con. However, I have so much going on this year. I'm going to have to check. I would love nothing more than to come up and play a Braunstein with you guys. That would be amazing. What? I believe we just got a big donation from Mort because he got a premium leather sack. Oh, wait, nope. Just kidding. That was earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
man, I was excited.
We did not get another one yet. Did not get another one yet. I'm looking. Oh, wait, we did get another donation. We did. Another one came in from Dominic Martin. $10. $10.
Well, Dominic.
Please tag me on Twitter and let me know what you want your $10 to go to. Road apples? Better horses for the humans?
What's your favorite one that somebody's given you yet so far? Request for the game. What is the most interesting one that you can share? Okay, you can't share.
I will say that my favorite one so far has come from Cyrus Wright, but I can't say what it is. But it's a doozy. Okay. It's a good one. It is a good one.
A good one.
And again, this guy hasn't been shouted out enough. Edgeweaver Books made a $200 donation earlier today or yesterday. He's a small independent publisher. He's a guy who's looking for authors to sign him up and everything. And Mr. Big is publishing his work through him, including an upcoming mobster RPG they're going to be releasing in this coming year. And Edgeweaver Books was willing he stepped right up. He offered prizes for the raffle portion, which we still have to hammer out the logistics of how we're going to do that exactly, but it's going to happen. Right. And the Edgeweaver Books, though, really did step up and made a major donation, and they've asked nothing other than to just promote the event, so they haven't affected the world yet, but I consider them to be like an official sponsor of the event.
I hear you just got another one. From Dundermoose.
Aha! Dundermoose.
I'm excited to see what he's going to contribute. You're going to be sorry about this one because Dundermoose's ideas, they are so off the wall.
Jonathan Rock.
Oh, let's not dox him.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay. But
Dominic Martin, thank you.
Couldn't be a better person to wear the hat. You are getting a knit hat from Patty's Parlor's wife, who I hear is a fantastic knitter.
Oh, that's awesome.
The weakest goblin faction, they're getting war mooses.
More mooses? Mooses?
War mooses.
War mooses.
War mooses.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Thank you, Dunder Moose.
I have a
Critical
question.
Dom. I see one from Critical Dom. Robert. Max Boyman. Man, thank you so much. And Mr. Dale, Michael Dale. Wow, this is overwhelming.
Is there anybody playing the weakest goblin faction?
There is now.
Oh, who? Who's getting the war mooses?
I had to think in my mind which would be the mooses. I had to think about who's the weakest goblin faction in the current dichotomy, and they're about equal. But I think I know who that's going to go to.
The war meese? Is it meese? Mooses? Meese?
I hate Mises to pieces.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I am going to go ahead and wrap up the stream, I believe, here. Thank you guys so much for the donations. Normally, I just go an hour. I did an extra 10 minutes because I knew we were going to get the Dunderbucks. But anyway, I'm sorry. I can't.
We rolling in it. More money, more money, more money, more money.
Thank you guys so much for the donations to St. Jude. Your donations will make a difference in somebody's life who needs it, I'm sure. I really appreciate it, guys. Jack, go ahead and real quick, if you want to tell us about your Rumble, your Twitter, give us everything you got here so they know where to follow you and they know where they can tune in for the after action report on Gobstein.
The two primary places to find me and follow Gobstein are on X and on Rumble. On X, you can find me at JP McCarthy JR. That is my handle on there. You can also search for the hashtag Gobstein, and that will lead you to our community and all the other people involved in it. Also, over on Rumble, which Patty just shared in the link here, user Jack McCarthy, all just one word. Find me on there, follow me, and that's where we're going to be doing some live streaming. And I've had aspirations for starting to post videos. I got opinions that need to get out, so they're going to start going up on Rumble.
Thank you so much, Jack. I really appreciate this. This was a really fun stream for me. So
I'm glad, Harmy.
I'm glad I got to meet you today. I'm glad I got to meet you.
It's a little bucket list item for me. I've been on Harmy Ginger's stream now, so that's good for me.
Yes, it was wonderful. Thank you so much, Jack. And thank you so much, everybody who donated and everyone who just stuck around in the chat. This was so much fun. I will be back next week. I don't know who I'll have next week. Let's kind of figure that out. In 2 weeks, 2 weeks? Oh, I shouldn't say. Yeah, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have a writer from Troll Lord Games on. But I have no idea what I'm going to do next week, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much again.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.